Battle of the Network shows. Join Rick Brooks and Mike Kogel as they explore the TV of the 70s and 80s through hand-picked episodes of their favorite and not-so-favorite series.
Hey there, for this special bonus feature, we're going to revisit a show we talked about before in a What We'd Like to See segment, and in this case, we or one of us saw it.
Yeah, well, one of us did get to see it and the other one didn't.
Yeah.
And is very jealous.
I understand. I visited in New York, the Paley Center, which is a repository for radio and television history. They don't actually have a museum or anything, but they do have a library that you can visit for a small donation. And with the donation, you get an hour and a half of access to their digital library. You can also donate a little more and have a researcher level, and then you can become a member, and you could spend the whole day there and have access also to the tape library because not everything's been digitized. Of course, I went there in search of shows we wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I saw one.
Some podcasts might talk about things, but we actually go out and do something about them.
That's right. I spent part of my vacation working for you, the listeners, and $10. I saw You're at the Top, or we're going to repeat the What We'd Like to See very quickly to reacquaint you and to not have to cover so much ground. And then after that, what you're about to hear, we'll come back and talk about actually seeing it.
Sounds good. What We'd Like to See.
You're at the Top was a sitcom. Was that on ABC?
I think it was NBC, maybe.
Is it in your book? We have reference materials. This is a professional show.
We take this seriously.
We have the IMDb on my cell phone, and we have...
I'm going to verify You're at the Top, but
Thank you.
But why don't you explain the great appeal of You're at the Top? Because it will be obvious once you explain it.
A number of... Before I tell you who starred in it, which that's the real treat, but it's about two musicians who make a deal with the devil to become successful for a year. Those musicians were played by Greg Evigan and Paul Shaffer. Greg Evigan went on to be the star of BJ and the Bear, possibly another candidate for What We'd Like to See.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul Shaffer, of course, went on to many things, most notably being the band leader at the Late Night with David Letterman and the Late Show with David Letterman. And, of course, has a storied career with SNL and all sorts of other projects. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a great small part in Spinal Tap. And that's enough, those two guys right there.
Exactly. That alone, and the stills that have
they're
survived.
They're both actually musicians, so they were doing their songs and the stuff. And I've seen a promo on YouTube and heard the theme song, which was a single that they recorded. This mostly sounds like Greg Evigan. Like I don't really hear a lot of Paul Shaffer, but there are keyboards, so I assume he's on there. But also Mickey Rooney was on there. I don't know who Mickey Rooney played. Was he the devil? Was he just a jerk?
Was Mickey Rooney actually on this one, or was that another one that he was on?
I thought he was on that one.
I'm not sure. I think
thought Paul Shaffer had a Mickey Rooney story.
Oh, that's right. It was from You're at the Top. He's not listed here in the regular cast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the fact that Greg Evigan and Paul Shaffer play characters named Greg and Paul is great.
Do you think they're roommates?
Yes. Apparently they were in Boise, Idaho, and they moved to Hollywood from Boise.
Well, that's a good idea if you're going to make a music career. I don't think Boise is the place to...
No. Nothing against Boise, Idaho, but it's not a hotbed of rock music. And
no.
Yeah, you mentioned the devil. They basically, unwittingly, I think, sell their soul to the devil to get fame and fortune.
Oh, yeah, it's like an accidental. Like they just think they're signing a deal with an agent.
Yes.
Oh, I believe one of the Drummond's replacements for Mrs. Garrett was on there. Yeah, Drew Holes.
Yes, and this is a Norman Lear show too.
Yeah, Mickey Rooney was in one episode. I think he was in the pilot, probably.
Okay, maybe he was the
devil. I think he was the devil. They don't. Well,
or maybe
he was Uncle Mickey Durbin.
Okay, so maybe they lived with him before they moved in Idaho.
Yeah,
and Mixter was with them in Idaho.
Yeah,
and then they go out to.
For what it's worth, Paul Shaffer on Gilbert Gottfried's podcast tells a great story about working on the show and Mickey Rooney.
That's right, yeah. I got confused because he's not listed in the cast here, but I'm a little concerned about that. Actually, it looks like Mickey Rooney's place in television history, the year at the top, it looks like it's being erased from history, at least the official history that I'm looking at, and that concerns me a little bit.
That is concerning. I mean, he's Mickey Rooney.
He sure is.
He was a movie star for his entire life.
The show, by the way, was on CBS.
CBS.
For 5 episodes.
Okay.
None of which, seem to be accessible.
That is disappointing.
And Don Kirshner was the music supervisor.
Yeah, that's right. And Paul Shaffer also has a Don Kirshner impression. That he did that on SNL, right?
Yes, that was one of his legendary things on Saturday Night Live. So, yes, the idea was that they would have to sign away their souls to get fame and fortune, and I guess the son of the devil was the promoter that they worked with, and the idea was that he would show them like what their year at the top would be like. And he kept trying, so apparently they never actually signed the contract, but this guy kept trying to tempt them to sign the contract. So they're not actually spending a year at the top, but they're trying to make it like legitimately, despite this temptation.
Okay.
See, this sounds pretty interesting.
It does sound interesting.
I mean, I'd like to see
like the music angle.
Yeah.
Partly because when they show the music industry in TV and movies, it's always ridiculous.
Yeah.
You don't have to know much about it to know.
Right.
That is weird. Like, they're like, I guess at some point in the history of the music industry, there were individual owners of record companies.
Yeah, right.
But that's the way it's always played. Like on Wise Guy, there was a whole thing about that.
Yeah, there's like one guy.
Yeah. And the people that own these two or whatever, everyone hates each other.
Now, this may not be much of an exception if there's the son of the devil is involved here. So there may be some ridiculousness in Year at the Top's view of the music industry as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I'd like to see what they did with it.
Yeah. And I wonder, I think, Greg Evigan, on My Two Dads, he tended to play keyboards when you saw him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think he did, but
yeah.
I feel like maybe he plays guitar on this. It'd be weird to have a band of 2 keyboard players. I mean, that's all you have.
Exclusively 2 keyboard
You're
players.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I
feel like, Greg was the front man. He's got the vocal chops, and of course he's legendary for his good looks.
Yeah,
Paul Shaffer's legendary for backing people up.
Right. I'm wondering.
and I don't mean that in a bad.
Right.
Just
yeah.
That's what he does. He makes he's the support that makes the thing work.
Yeah, I'm wondering how the Greg and Paul. I'm wondering if they were like a songwriting duo of some kind, or if they were.
Yeah. I feel like they were. I feel like
going to start a band per se, or if they were just hoping to get in the industry somehow.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there are probably a lot of scenes of them trying to write songs together.
I wish there are a lot. I hope there are a lot of scenes
Yeah.
of them writing songs together.
Because those scenes are always great too.
Yeah.
Kind of. Well, My Two Dads had that, right? Didn't they? No. I was going to say they were writing partners, but that wasn't the case.
Well, the best
Paul
part.
Reiser had a totally different job.
Yeah, he was like
I thought they wrote
tight
jingles
guy.
together.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I think he wrote jingles by himself.
The best part of Ishtar is when Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty are writing songs together. I'll say that. So, yeah, I think that'd definitely be cool to watch them composing songs on the fly on Year at the Top.
Well, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to play the promo.
Greg falls for the beautiful Kelly Christopher.
She loves me.
But she, too, has a deal with the devil.
It's midnight. Bye-bye time.
A Year at the Top. Sunday at 8:30, 7:30 Central and Mountain.
Apparently it's hilarious. I know that much.
It looked cool. I didn't hear much, but I saw. I could see in the phone. I've never seen that promo.
Yeah, it's there on YouTube.
Ah,
that and the theme song.
I'll have to check that out.
And it looks like Busting Loose airs after that.
Oh, the Adam Arkin.
Is that what that is?
I think there was a TV version with Adam Arkin. I think, a version of the movie.
Yeah, who was in that movie?
Was it Richard Pryor? Bustin' Loose.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
point being,
and Adam Arkin was playing the Richard Pryor part.
I don't know anything about Bustin' Loose, the show, but it didn't get much of a good lead in from Year at the Top.
Apparently not.
Apparently, because Year at the Top only lasted
a
handful of episodes.
Yeah. But now that brings up the interesting part of that, though. Is always whenever you hear about like someone who goes on to better things, maybe, and they have some show that gets canceled early. You always think you can think about well what would have happened if what if Year at the Top had been on for say 7 seasons?
Right. He
Paul
wouldn't.
Shaffer wouldn't have been on Letterman.
He wouldn't have been on Letterman. Yeah.
No BJ and the Bear.
Right.
Or BJ and the Bear with Tom Selleck or something.
Yeah.
It would have been strange.
Yeah. It definitely would have changed things.
Yeah.
For the better? I doubt it, but I'd like to find out for myself. This is why it's frustrating.
Maybe they would have gotten into that kind of thing with, maybe there was or maybe they did. Maybe there's a show where the devil showed them what their lives would be like, or the son of the devil, if they took his deal.
Yeah.
Maybe that happened all the time. Maybe that's part of what he did. And you
Right.
got to see them in cool costumes. And
Like
stuff.
in, I don't know, but I hope maybe like the Paley Center, somebody has some copies of this, or
Yeah. That's probably the answer to this entire question. Just go to the Paley Center and watch.
Yeah.
Go to New York or
Watch
LA
it.
and watch.
Yeah, and then 30 minutes later we walk out. Wow, that wasn't so good after
Yeah.
all. I hope not.
Maybe it's an unfortunate situation where they erase the tapes.
Oh, I hope not. It definitely sounds like there's so much talent behind it. Norman Lear alone makes it, you think it has some historical significance.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know what's happened to this, but it didn't sound like it was an entirely a positive experience by everybody that worked on it. So it was
Right.
kind of an ill-fated venture from the get-go, it seems like.
I feel like maybe Norman Lear's involvement was kind of hands-off, too. Like, there's all these things he was involved in just because his company was involved in.
Right. That's very possible. Paul Shaffer does talk about this in his biography about this show, in his book, but he doesn't say where to find copies of it, so that's incomplete. Right. But I think that's a good pick. I'd like to watch it as well.
All right. That was
what we'd like to see.
We're back. As you heard there, Year at the Top is the show in which Greg Evigan and Paul Shaffer make a deal with the devil or the devil's son to have a year at the top of the rock and roll business.
Why would you not want to see that? It sounds great, right?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, do you just want to ask me what happens in the pilot? I can give you a few little tidbits.
Well, first of all, so let me ask you, so how many episodes did you specifically choose the pilot, or were there more episodes that are available?
No, that was the only one they had available.
Okay.
And it is a two-parter, so it's 49 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it seems like from the credits it was intended that, it has the thing you see sometimes where it says, part 1 written by and part 2 written by and all that. So, and this is the only episode that the mixture appears in.
Well, that answers my first question.
And also a woman named Priscilla Lopez, who's a singer.
Okay. All right. So, as a general thing, were there musical numbers in here? Did you see?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Describe the music.
Well, there are a couple bits where Paul and Greg, I believe that's their names in the show.
Well, that's convenient. Except Greg Gavigan plays Paul and Paul Shaffer plays Greg.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
They play some piano together, like a piano kind of boogie duet.
Okay.
But then they do get a big performance in front of an audience at the Forum, I think, in L.A.
Oh, wow.
Clearly some
Fabulous
stock footage.
Forum. Nice.
And I think that's one of the songs we might have put on the YouTube list.
Okay.
Like Superstar or something like that.
Okay.
And then Greg and Priscilla Lopez actually sing a duet right before they break up.
Oh.
And then at the end, there's another Greg and Paul actually doing, I think it's a cover of She's a Rebel.
Oh, wow.
And it looks like kind of an American Bandstand type show. Or Solid Gold, a show with a weird set and dancers and things.
I love this, but I'm getting a queasy feeling because I'm worried that music clearances are going to keep this show from getting on DVD like it should be.
Right.
That would be the reason
That
it's
would
not
be
on DVD.
Yeah.
No other, yeah.
We at least know a tape of it exists.
Yeah. So, what did it look like as a sitcom? Was it like a studio audience? Was it like...
It was definitely a videotape.
Were the musical numbers different? Did it look different when they switched to the music? Was it like seamlessly integrated, or I mean?
Well, since like the one, two of them were performances. Mm-hmm. I would say the one with the forum looked a little weird because the stock footage was probably on film. Okay. I think, I don't know why I thought it was an Eagles concert for some reason, but and I think it was a thing where like, oh, this event is going on and the Devil's Son is going to get them on that event for their debut.
Okay.
And that whole thing is complicated, but and the other one just is kind of like the show ended and here's a musical number.
Oh, okay. Just kind of tacked on.
Yeah, but the idea seemed to definitely be that they were on some TV show performing. And then the duet, the duet was a little odd because it just in real life.
Yeah.
Like Paul was playing something on piano and then they started singing this duet. So it was more like a musical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was there a laugh track?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I might think of some specific things, but what was your general impression of the show?
Everything I hoped for, in a way, and yet not. And here's the mixture, and the guy playing the Devil's Son, Gabriel Perry, I think is his name. Gabriel Dell.
Gabe. From,
yeah.
Yeah.
From what?
The East Side. Wait a minute, Gabriel Dell.
Yeah.
Gabe from the East Side Kids and the Bowery Boys.
Really? Yeah, I think $1 Million Kid is an Italian immigrant, Gabriel Dell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That I didn't know. Well, no wonder. So he and the mixer definitely have a antagonistic relationship there. Yep.
He seemed a little young to be playing the Devil's Son, so I was a little confused by that at first.
Because he seemed a little old to be playing the Devil's Son to me.
Oh, that's what I meant. I meant
old. Yeah.
I meant old, like too old to be, because he's not that much younger than Mickey Rooney.
Yeah, but the Devil's,
Okay. Yeah. Beelzebub is.
Yeah. I guess not knowing that actor from anything myself, he's what they might have termed in those days flamboyant. He also looks like maybe he's wearing a wig, but I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe his hair was just dyed or something.
Wow.
Here's the setup. This is not the setup I thought. The Mixter and Priscilla Lopez come to this record company, and the Mixter knew the guy who used to own it, and that guy's dead. But what they're looking for is not a contract for a rock act. Greg and Paul have written a musical in which she's going to star, and they want to make a deal so that happens.
Oh, okay. That is a little different, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, the Devil's Son, it's even Frederick J. Hanover, is now running the company, and he's it seems like the way it works is he gives the aspiring person a year at the top, and then at the end of the year they either sign their soul over to him or they lose everything. Because this is what happens there's another character named Billy Worthy, played by Tim Thomerson, who comes in, and he's sort of either like a country act or an Elvis kind of guy. And he comes in and it's his time to sign the contract, and he doesn't want to sign it. And like Hanover makes his voice turn into a high squeaky voice.
Oh, interesting.
Because he has powers, and so, he basically says this is going to go away if you don't sign it, and he ends up signing. But then right after he leaves, Daddy calls, and Daddy needs 2 more souls. Not 3, but 2. And Paul and Greg haven't even shown up at the office yet. And then so the Mixer and Priscilla go in there, or no, just the Mixer goes in. No, sorry. The Mixer goes in with Greg and Paul. And it turns out, although they've written a Broadway musical, neither of them can sing and neither of them can play an instrument.
Well, you have to suspend some disbelief. for on multiple levels.
Yeah. So he uses his power to make them able to play piano.
Okay.
And that's when they do the piano duet. The Mixer is all suspicious of all this. And this is not, partly because this is just not what they want. They don't want them to be stars. They want and he keeps saying, oh, they're serious Broadway musical. And And then the devil's son shows him like a sweet pad that'll be theirs. It's like by a pool and has like a grand piano in it and all this stuff. And Greg and Paul are like and they're all from Boise, so they're all kind of rubes a little bit. And I think they're either brothers or cousins, and the mixture is their uncle, and a lot of dynamics there. And so finally, the Hanover and the mixture make a deal. Like, they're going to have this performance, and if they do well, then they're going to do this with me. If not, you can go on and do your thing.
Okay.
And of course they do well, because magic. Demonic magic. But they're a big hit immediately. And then some time passes, and you get some stuff like the mixer's still out there trying to get this musical across, and the devil and his secretary, forgetting her name now, Miss Worley, played by Priscilla Morrill, totally knows what's going on. It's not like she's working for the devil's son and doesn't know.
Right.
And they're out there trying to spread bad word about the musical. So, and Greg and Paul are just kind of like, well, I don't know, we get to do a thing.
Yeah.
This seems fun.
Well.
Also a striking thing, just aside, when you see Greg Evigan, Mickey Rooney, and Paul Shaffer standing together in a three-shot,
yes,
you really get a sense of how small Mickey Rooney is.
Really?
I mean, Greg Evigan is clearly a tall guy.
Yeah.
Paul Shaffer, based on that, seems like an average-sized guy.
Okay.
I always thought of him as a little short, but and Mickey Rooney, there's basically a head height between each of them.
Wow.
So,
that must be a nice visual.
Yeah, and there are tons of jokes about Mickey Rooney being short.
Really? Huh.
Mostly from the devil, or the devil's son.
Okay.
Just really going after it.
So there's a lot of back and forth between those
and him
two.
Doing a lot of good mugging in response to that. And also, this I want almost more than the show. Hanover has a Mickey Rooney voodoo doll.
Oh no! All right.
Or I should say, Uncle Mickey Durbin.
Oh wow!
That's his real name, character name, but it's pretty cool, and he keeps it in a drawer.
Oh. Add this to our list of products we wish were made that
Yes.
never were.
Basically, the mixture, again, this is way more about him than Greg and Paul. Decides, okay, we're just going to go to New York and put on the musical ourselves.
Okay.
Just him and Linda. That's the other character's name. And but they need money. They don't have any money. So they come up with a plan to get the money from Hanover. And it involves the mixture's mom. What?
The devil's mom?
No, the mixture's mom.
The mixture's real mom?
Yeah, the character's mom.
The character's mom.
Yes. Played by none other than Nedra Voles.
Oh, the great Nedra Voles.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Who was probably,
Yes.
like 2 years older than... I know she was pretty old, but...
Yeah, well, this I'm not going to complain about the Gabriel Dell thing now. No.
Oh, well, okay. No, she was born in 1908, so...
Oh, my gosh.
And the mixture was 1920. That's pushing it a little bit.
It
but
is,
not as
but-
much.
Yeah.
It was still a little
The
startling.
mixture still had some youthful
Yeah.
pep.
So he sends her in. Her name's Grandma Belle Durbin, but everybody calls her Grandma. That's why I'm a little confused about the relationships too, because Paul and Greg both call her Grandma, but
Gotcha.
then if everybody calls her Grandma, I don't know.
Yeah.
So she goes into the devil's son's office and to pretend to be the cleaning lady, and and she's kind of eavesdropping, and then the mixer's name comes up, and she's like, "Wait, I know a Mickey Durbin," and she starts telling him like that he married 2 different women, and she has proof of it, like photographic proof of it, and the Hanover guy gets all excited, and he's like, because then he can just blackmail him and get him out. And she's like, well, if you, give me money, I'll give you more information. So she gets all this money from him. She gave him, it turns out, pictures of him posing at each of his sister's weddings.
Okay.
But it's him looking like he's in a tuxedo next to a woman in a wedding dress twice.
Yeah.
and they're basically able to get all the money they need, and the Mixer and Linda go off to New York to never be on the show again.
Oh.
Well, Paul and Greg, are going to pursue their year at the top.
So they get the rub from Mickey Rooney, lends his considerable star power to the show.
Yeah.
Gets things going, but wasn't going to be a part of the...
Right. Like, it played like there had been a show about Mickey Durbin.
Yeah.
And it was a backdoor pilot.
Really? Wow. That's interesting.
Because he was in it so much,
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, that's...
Interesting.
And Paul and Greg are just like empty shells, other than their natural charisma.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Greg, so he's in this relationship with Linda, but then she wants to leave, and they sort of break up. And I think he's kind of like, looking around the pool and all the ladies hanging out there. Paul is single, of course, and the nerdy sort of vaguely, not gross about what, but like he eats gross food and stuff. He's just, that's about all I know about them. Like she gets Greg a sandwich and it's got like sprouts on it. And then the one she gets for Paul is like some weird, like mayonnaise and jelly or something weird like that. Or sardines and I don't know, something very unhealthy. So, I don't know. It's very odd. Which is kind of what, I wanted it to be weird.
Yeah. It sounds a little bit...
yes. Greg and Paul, of course, got the songs.
Some unexpected developments.
Yeah.
Is there a scene where Alan Klein storms into the office and cheats the Devil's Son out of the publishing before they even release the musical soundtrack?
No.
Because I could see that happening.
I wish. Maybe that's a later episode.
Yeah. He's like the one guy Hanover doesn't want to deal with.
Yeah. Daddy, Alan Klein's here again.
So would you be interested in seeing more episodes if they were available?
Yes.
Would you have watched it back when it was on? Can you imagine yourself being into it at all?
No, because I was 4. But and yet it seemed vaguely familiar. Like maybe I had seen it. Maybe I just saw pictures of some of these things.
We just all have, it's part of our collective consciousness. Like Here at the Top somehow infiltrated our national psyche, despite its short time on the airwaves. And we all have this collective memory of it.
Right. I mean, there are only 6 episodes.
Yeah. When you requested this, was everybody like really impressed with you because you picked this?
No, you just type it into it.
Okay.
Yeah. That part of it is just a little weird. And like because I did a search, you can search the catalog just from the internet on their website, and it came up, but it had no information about it other than the name and the length, and it said an hour, so I wasn't sure what I was going to get.
Right.
And of course the You're at the Top theme song's in it too, by the way. So 4 songs really.
Okay.
And I swear the website I think said you could. Maybe if you become a member, you can enter information. It really does need more information. Like they want kind of crowdsourcing the information on
to fill out the details on the show. Yeah.
But I couldn't do it there at least.
That would be a boon for future researchers.
Now around me, so it's a room just full of computer stations, like at long tables, and I saw people watching like I Love Lucy and like some Western, I don't know, a black and white Western of some kind, and other things. And
why would you go to the Paley Center and donate money to see I Love Lucy?
Well, the people watching it were old.
Okay.
So maybe they don't understand that it is available.
Okay, well.
Everywhere.
I mean, you could pay $10 for a month of something or other and and watch most of the episodes.
Yeah, maybe they just went and they didn't know what they were going to watch.
Okay.
They decided, because some people were watching, there were like 2 or 3 people together and they're all watching the same thing together.
Okay.
So.
Maybe they were just there anyway and just to do something. Yeah.
I didn't see anybody that looked like they were doing research or anything.
Savvy viewers would know to have a game plan ahead of time like you and pick something rare.
Right, yeah. So that's I don't know if you have any other questions about it.
No,
at the top.
I don't think I do. I even though your account does leave some questions, I think that we all have about the possible future of the show and what happened in the subsequent episodes, but that's something for continued exploration, it sounds like, since the Paley Center only has the pilot. Yeah,
maybe one day they'll have more. I don't know.
Let's hope.
Yeah. So that's something we saw.
Well
or
done.
I saw.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah. But if you're ever in New York or LA, the opportunity is there to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I described much of it, it's, there's a lot that I would never be able to get across myself. But seeing it, you'd really take it in.
And hearing it.
And hearing
bet,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sweet music.
What we saw. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Battle of the Network shows. Learn more, leave feedback, and suggest future episodes at battleofthenetworkshows.com. Follow us on Twitter at BatNetShows, and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Battle